Thinking about moving to Washington, D.C.? Well, hold up. There are 10 crucial things that you need to know before making the leap. From sky-high living costs to navigating the political scene, this area is full of surprises. Let's dive in and uncover what you need to know to make your move smooth and successful. Welcome back to our channel, where we bring you insider's knowledge on what it's like to live in the most exciting cities in the world. If Washington, D.C. is on your radar, you're in the right place. Living in the Washington, D.C. metro area can be an incredible experience, but it also has some challenges, as does every other place. You take the good with the bad. Let's break down 10 important things that you need to know before you call this area your home. As I alluded to earlier, it's best to know what you're getting into before you actually get here. And even though you can be enamored by all the history and the pageantry that the Washington, D.C. area has to offer with its monuments, its parades, its festivals, all those great things, there are things that you really need to know before you make the move. The DC metro area not only includes Washington, D.C. proper, but it also includes parts of Virginia and parts of Maryland. And that's what we're going to talk about today, an all-encompassing view of the Washington, D.C. metro area. The first thing we're going to talk about is the cost of living. Seems to be top on everybody's list, and we do have a higher than average cost of living here in this area. We are at 151% of the average for US. So in an index of 100, we're 51 points, almost 52 points higher from a cost of living perspective than the average in the United States. As you can see, it is one of the most expensive areas in the United States. From housing to groceries, everything costs more here. And if you're coming from areas that are lower on the scale of cost of living, brace yourself for some serious sticker shock. Whether you're buying or renting, be prepared for prices that are significantly higher than the national average. The median home price in this area is around $655,000, but it can easily go up to the $900,000 range depending on the areas that you're looking in. Renting a 2-bedroom unit here will cost you $1,940 a month, which is 35.7% more than the national average of $1,430 a month. And it's 5.2% more than the state average of $1,840 a month. This is a direct reflection of the region's desirability and economic strength. On the plus side, however, there are a couple items on the chart that are a little bit more reasonably priced, and those include the cost of transportation and the cost of food. They tend to be a little bit more reasonable compared to other US cities. Number 2, probably on everybody's list, is traffic and commuting times. The DC area is infamous for its traffic, and I'm not gonna lie, it can really suck at times. Depending on where you live and where you work, you can spend hours in traffic each day. While there are many public transportation options, they are not without their challenges. For example, there's a new metro line that just got put in to Ashburn, Virginia, which is probably about an hour on a good drive east of Washington, D.C. You hop on that metro, you have to make a couple changeovers. By the time you get to DC, it's gonna take you probably longer by sitting on that metro than driving yourself. However, I will say that sitting in a metro is a lot different than driving yourself through the crazy traffic with all the people maybe not acting or behaving well and get you riled up and stressed out. So there is a stress factor to consider, as well as a location factor when you decide where you wanna move relative to where you have to commute to work. Probably the best advice that I can offer here is try to enjoy the journey, no matter what choice of transportation you choose and how long it takes you to get to your ultimate destination, and always be prepared for something to happen, because 9 times out of 10, there is no rational explanation for a lot of the traffic other than commute times. So just be prepared. Something might happen to slow it down. Something may happen to speed it up. You just never know. So just relax and enjoy the journey. The third thing you need to know about, and probably one of the reasons why you're considering moving here, is the job market. There are tons of job opportunities here, and I believe that is a direct correlation to why the cost of living is so high and why our economy is so strong. It's varied sectors here that you can come to work in: government, high tech, education, healthcare, you name it. We probably have it here. We've got big names like Amazon Web Services, Capital One, Raytheon, and then we have some not so big names that are still equally great in terms of employment opportunities and in terms of opportunity to make a good living here in the DC metro area. The presence of numerous federal agencies and contractors also contribute to the stable employment landscape. As I said earlier, a lot of people move to this area and move out of this area for work-related purposes. But when you're considering moving here for work, it's really important that you know what you're getting into to help you decide what the best place is for you to live. And also, I can help you as well. For example, I came here in 1998. I know I'm dating myself, but I came here for a job and it was in high tech. And I obviously didn't leave, but I ended up looking for a space that I wanted to live where I felt like I wasn't in the hustle and bustle of a city, and it still felt very suburban and very close to amenities like parks and walking trails and things like that. So I settled on Leesburg because of that. And let me tell you, it's grown so much since I moved here, which is a video for another day, but I really considered what I wanted in my lifestyle. And I also considered that I didn't want to have a really, really long commute to work. So I managed to get that to work out in my first job here, and then my commute got worse as I took different jobs in the high-tech area, but I managed to make it work. It was before work at home, so it was hard driving in every day on the stress of the traffic and whatnot, but you know, you suck it up and you do it, and here I am in my own business now. So it's all worked out for the best. I know my boys are gonna stay in the area because of the job opportunities here and because of their degree. They're more likely to be in this area, so we don't have to guess like, oh my gosh, where are they gonna be so that we can be close to them. We're likely gonna be relatively close to them because we're gonna stay here in this area for quite a bit longer, and hopefully they will too. One of the biggest draws to the DC metro area is the exceptional education system. I am not allowed to steer, but you definitely can look online and see how many really well-rated schools we have in the area, and they're all mostly public. We do have some private options as well, which are just as good. Teacher to student ratio is smaller, and some people prefer to go that route, and that is certainly an option. You will also see in the ratings high graduation rates and excellent academic performances of the students here. And we also have some really stellar postgraduate universities, including George Mason, American University, and George Washington University. Overall, we have excellent education and excellent opportunities to get a good education. It can vary depending on where you end up living, so make sure you consult the online ratings. I tend to look at the county ratings, the test scores, because I feel like it's a more quantitative measurement of the school's performance and the students' performances. There are some sites out there where you don't really understand how they rate, so just keep that in mind when you go searching online to get the proper school ratings. I will tell you one example here is I live in Loudoun County, I live in Leesburg, Virginia. I could talk about it all day. If you've watched any of my videos, you already know this, but I've been here 26 years. I raised both my boys here. So Leesburg has good schools, good public schools, but when you look at the ratings, they aren't as high as some of the other Loudoun County and, you know, farther east towards DC schools. However, both my boys went to public schools from kindergarten to high school. They did great. They played sports. They did well academically. They both got into really good colleges. One went to George Washington and one went to Virginia Tech. The oldest is a cyber graduate, so he's working at Amazon Web Services, and the younger one just graduated and is looking for a position right now in the business information technology field. Washington, D.C. is steeped in history and culture, from its monuments to its memorials to festivals and green spaces and historic Civil War monuments. It is chock full of things to do. And you can see the rich heritage reflected in the architecture, the landmarks, and a lot of the different events and festivals that are held in this area. For example, I never miss a cherry blossoms. Now it's getting more and more crowded every year, but you can time it so that if you arrive right at the beginning when it opens, you don't have to deal with as large of a crowd. So I try to get there early and I try to stay for maybe like an hour, check out the cherry blossoms and head on out. But it is a beautiful testament to the heritage of this region. And of course, you know, the Lincoln Memorial and Jefferson Memorial and all those things. just really make you feel like you're in a very special place. And then locally where I live, we have this historic regional park called Balls Bluff Regional Park, and it was where the Battle of Balls Bluff took place. There's a lot of heritage there. There's a little cemetery. They do tours on the weekends to walk you through the battlefield and talk you through the battle. You know, it almost gives you chills when you walk through places like that because there is so much history in this area. Washington, D.C. is the epicenter of political activity here in the United States, and that can influence every aspect of life here. Political culture here is pervasive, and it's something that you'll encounter in your daily interactions. Historically, and you can see by the chart, this region has really leaned heavily towards the Democratic side. Not that that matters, but just to give you a sense of kind of where it leans as an area, it tends to lean more on the Democratic side than the Republican side. And whether you love politics or hate politics, it is definitely part of the package to consider when you move to this area. And that's not surprising given that it is the political capital of the United States. Choosing the right neighborhood in the DC metro area is crucial. This region is very diverse, with each area offering its own unique vibe. Whether you prefer the historic charm of Georgetown or the trendy vibe that you get in Logan Circle or a more suburban atmosphere in Arlington, there is a place here for everyone. Just know that prices and amenities can vary widely depending on where you're looking. Because the DC metro area encompasses 3 different states, DC, Virginia, and Maryland, there are a ton of different options for you to choose from in terms of where you want to live. So whether you prefer a city vibe, which we talked about with Georgetown and Logan Circle, or a more suburban vibe, which is where I am out in Western Loudoun, there are plenty of choices that you can consider. And I will say that most of my clients tend to move out a little bit farther west because you can get more for your money. You can get newer homes the farther west you go. You can get bigger homes a farther west that you go. And it's funny because people will think, yeah, you know, I want to live close to my job. But then when they look at the home options and perhaps they're looking for a little bit more space or a bigger lot or maybe just a newer home because they don't want to renovate, they end up moving out farther west and dealing with the commute. And I will say it's a little bit easier now because you've got a lot of hybrid work options. So you can work from home a few days and only make the commute in maybe 1 or 2 days or 1 day a week. So that makes it a heck of a lot more manageable than when I moved here, which we've already talked about. Next up is the weather. So the weather here, we have all 4 seasons, spring, summer, fall, and winter. And sometimes those seasons can be super intense. For example, summers here are usually pretty brutal because of the humidity. This year has been kind of over the top just in terms of the lack of rain and the high heat indexes. We've been over 100, probably more days than I can count this summer. And August is usually the worst month ever for heat and humidity. So you just need to know that and just know that you're probably going to be indoors because of the heat index, or the air quality will also keep you indoors. So you just need to know that and be prepared. On the flip side, spring and fall are beautiful seasons, and in my opinion, fall tends to be a longer season than what I'm used to. I came from Ohio, so the fall tended to be a little short there in my opinion. I think it's longer here, and it is like the most amazing season, and everybody's out at the wineries and breweries or walking or whatever, so it's definitely something I look forward to every year. Just the change of leaves and all the great things you can do outside definitely helps with the bad August. And because there are extremes in terms of weather, it's just best to be prepared. You can go out one day and it can be raining, or then it would turn to ice. And so you kind of have to be prepared with your umbrella and maybe like not want to drive or kind of not want to walk outside. So those types of things you have to be prepared for. Sometimes they can happen all in one day. It can start raining, then it's going to turn to snow, and then it's going to turn to ice, and then it's going to be warm. Like, it's freaky. And so I just wear a lot of wet layers in the wintertime so that I can take them off if it gets warm, and then just be prepared for anything weather-wise if I have to drive somewhere. And you'll be fine. One of the most exciting things about living in this area is the cultural diversity. There are so many festivals, so many things to do, so many different things to learn about. Every weekend, you'll find something new to do. That and the lifestyle that you can get here, depending on whether you want that city lifestyle with the cool vibe, or you want that more country suburban lifestyle where you're going to go out and hike every day, or maybe you're going to go to a winery, or you do both and it doesn't really matter where you live, you have an option to experience all these great amenities and green spaces and a lifestyle that's different, certainly different than Ohio. There wasn't really much to do where I lived in terms of those types of options, but there are tons of options for you to explore, new cultures, new things to do, new things to try here in the DC metro area. For example, I'll tell you another story about when we first moved here. Again, I live in Leesburg. They have these really great holiday parades. And the most popular one is the Halloween parade. So everybody gets dressed up, even parents. We used to sneak in a little wine flask and have a little sip on the street while we were watching the parade go by. But they throw candy. There's all these people dressed up. You got a fire truck with Santa. It is so charming and so like small towny in a not so small town anymore. We looked forward to it every year. The boys they were out of their minds with all the candy that they got there. So you'd go there and then you'd race back to the houses to do your other trick-or-treating, and they would make a haul. It was like so much fun, and now I'm almost sad that I can't do it anymore because my kids are too old. I'm clearly too old, but it was something that I will never forget, and it just really bonded me with this area because of that charm. I touched on this a little bit in the other segment, but there is so much to do and so much entertainment here that you literally could find something different to do every weekend. Then you get your favorites where you're gonna go to the strawberry picking area in Bluemont and do that every year, and maybe the apple picking, and then you're gonna see a couple concerts at Wolf Trap. There's lots of different opportunities to just really experience this area. This channel covers a lot of those fun things that you can do both within a neighborhood and within a region. So if you are interested in taking a deeper dive into some of the locations that you can live here in the DC metro area, check out our channel. There's a lot more videos that you can look at. And if you have specific questions about concerts or wineries or breweries or whatever, please just drop a comment below or send me an email anytime. I'm happy to answer any questions or delve more into areas that you might find interest in. I hope you found this high-level overview of things you need to know before you move to this area helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and share it with somebody else who may be considering a move to the DC metro area. And while I didn't get into in-depth options for communities, there are tons of them on our channel. And you can see by just watching a few of those videos, each one has its own unique charm and offers its own unique vibe. So if you could come up with like the 3 priorities that you're looking for when you want to move to this area, I can help pinpoint specific neighborhoods that you could consider that meet those criteria. All you have to do is reach out. Days, nights, weekends, email, text, phone. I am here. We're happy to help. You can drop a comment below as well. We'd love to help you find the perfect place to live in this really fantastic and always entertaining DC metro area. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. If you've watched a couple of videos, maybe it's worth a subscription. So tap that subscription button and ring that notification bell. We do videos every week, so it'll cover specific things that you may be interested in, or if there's stuff that you want me to cover, again, drop a comment below or feel free to email me, text me, or call me. I'm happy to cover whatever interests you in terms of what it's like to live, eat, and play in the DC metro area. And if you live here and you want to share some of your experiences to help other people with their move to the DC metro area, please feel free to drop a comment below. We would love to hear from you. And until next time, see you later.